And then as we look at our radar scene, this was that little downpour that formed that water spout earlier today. And you can see that close to the Mandeville lakefront through the evening hours. Otherwise, we're looking quiet for this evening, and most of the rain was actually ramping down at that point for most spots. We do expect more scattered rain the next few days to help with the heat. It will be hotter and probably less rainy for the 4th of July weekend. So we'll have that transition from the rain and less hot to less rain and more heat. We also have our new tropical depression, but no tropical threats here. This is all the way in the extreme, almost as far extreme southwest Gulf that you can get. And this is tropical depression 2, formed today officially at 4 p.m. But this is a really messy complex of some showers and some clouds here. This is not organized yet as far as any sort of significant system, but it will bring a lot of rain, it looks like, to the Mexico coastline around Tampico as it makes landfall there sometime late tomorrow, and possibly could attain tropical storm status very briefly, maybe right around landfall. But it clearly does not have a lot of space or time to work with, even though it will be out with the center, the very loose center, kind of over these warm waters of the Bay of Campeche. So you can see our model does have it moving inland here. You can see that it does look like it might go a lot farther south actually than that particular model showed. There's a ridge of high pressure here guiding this off to the west northwest. And even though the sea surface temperatures are plenty warm enough to support strengthening, again, it just doesn't have that long. There's also some westerly, southwesterly shear with this system. So this is not going to be a really significant storm. I think if anything, maybe a low end tropical storm when it makes landfall tomorrow evening. And even though there are maybe up to 5-6 inches of rain expected around Tampico and the coast of Mexico, this will be a quickly dissipating system once it moves inland over that high terrain, the mountainous terrain there. Some spots maybe could get up to 10 inches for a few isolated locations. Now, here is our model showing the low pressure centers from the two big global models, the GFS and Euro. They both agree with it moving inland much farther south than that last model I showed you. Also, they're highlighting, even though this spot is not highlighted by the National Hurricane Center at all for any development, an upper low over Florida by the end of the week. So we'll see whether that is able to meander over warm water. If a surface low develops, perhaps that could try to organize. However, our big feature for next weekend is the high pressure ridge building back, and that would probably block any kind of other system heading our way or block anything from coming toward us, and also heat us up and keep us drier. So that's just a quick outlook on those different tropical features that we have out there at this point. Again, as of right now, only the depression being highlighted for any sort of development. So we continue with no tropical threats. Our temperature 80 degrees for tonight. Here was that radar scene again. And as we look at our rainfall amounts, some spots got a lot of rain today, depending on whether you were under one of those slow moving downpours or not. The Kenner Airport almost an inch. William Taylor from Thibodaux said they recorded 1.77 inches of rain there. Our temperatures right now in the 70s to about 80, and you can see our feels like temperatures not too different. Tonight, mostly clear, our temperatures in the 70s for lows, and tomorrow we're looking for highs around 90, 91, maybe touching 92 briefly, with a near 50 or 60% chance for scattered rain. This takes us to 1 p.m. A lot of shower action out there, probably not quick moving storms as there's nothing to really drive them. They'll just form up and then could dump a quick couple of inches of rain here and there. So we'll watch for that. This is 4 p.m. tomorrow and then 8 p.m. on your Sunday evening. Most of the rain is wrapping up. Moving into Monday, it looks like a little lower chance for rain, but still certainly some scattered storms as we're still in our same kind of setup. This is by 6 p.m. Monday, looking a little quieter by then. So until Wednesday, we continue with a really similar kind of forecast. Every day, some daily downpours. Every day, probably reaching officially about 90 to 92 or so, but easily cooling down fast under any rain. And then toward 4th of July, look at that, mid-90s are back with a lower chance, but still a chance for a few isolated storms.